The reason you're here is because the way you've been running your deal so far, something doesn't feel right. You're getting contradictory advice from different people. Maybe you've been waking up in cold sweats in the middle of the night because you just feel like you're leaving millions on the table and you just don't know where. And the solution is that you do need a good M&A lawyer, someone to legally architect your deal, and someone that you have attorney-client privilege with. And this topic's bigger than this particular session, but just remember this. The only person in the world you can tell your secrets to that a court can't compel discovery over in litigation, and litigation does happen, you've seen it in the news, the only person you can talk to and figure out how to solve for those problems is your lawyer, the one that you pay and the one that you engage. AI tools don't count. Your M&A broker doesn't count. Fortunately, your wife doesn't count, or your husband doesn't count. Only your lawyer can you tell your secrets to, and they can be privileged. Remember that, it's an important takeaway, and you need a good one. So, if you are a good fit for our firm, and we have spots available, I want to give you a 15% discount on all future legal services you have with me from our standard regular rates. Now, this will add up fast, because you will see an immediate return on your investment for this course if we work together after this course. Maybe even 4 to 5 times the cost of this course you'll be getting back almost immediately. Because here's what I know. The founders that are diligent in hiring the right deal architect early on are the ones that close good deals. And they do it the first time around. Now let's break it down as I'll take you through each of lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, and we'll go over the main points from each lesson. So lesson 1 was the exclusivity wall. Now this is not a rung of the LOI ladder, this is a foundational point, the important point, the point that makes this all make a lot of sense. Because your leverage peaks before the LOI, and after that, it decays through the rest of your transaction. That's unless you have a process in place to protect you. Now your exclusivity wall needs to be a line in the sand, and you don't cross it until you get the right buyer and the right terms. Lesson 2, we learned manufacturing leverage. This is where we covered the first rung of the LOI leverage ladder. And before you negotiate a single term in your deal, you need to accomplish 2 things. First, you need to know yourself. You need to know your drivers, what internal, external cues are driving you. And second, you need to know your buyer. You need to know the financial capability of your buyer. You need to know the investment intent. Okay, lesson 3. Lesson 3 was lock in favorable terms. Now this is rungs 2 and 3 of the leverage ladder for term specificity and binding provisions. So in lesson 3, we use the information waterfall to control what the buyer saw, and more important than that, when the buyer saw it. And then secondly, we use the master PSA blueprint. Now, this is a 9-element blueprint that maps the most critical PSA provisions that you'll get in your 75-page PSA, so you can know deeply how your PSA will operate. This is one of the easiest steps to skip because it seems like a lot of work, and it is. But nobody, and I mean nobody, regrets having a well thought out, detailed term sheet. So lesson 4, our final lesson, we're going to engineer time. And this is rungs 4 and 5 of the leverage ladder. During lesson 4, we learned how to control our financial risk using the risk reduction funnel. 10 levels that ensured at each level you are narrowing your financial risk exposure in the deal. Then you're going to build momentum through your deal using exclusivity backdoors to engineer time. So what we're doing here is we're turning this exclusivity trap that we've been trying to defend against since day 1, we're turning this actually into a motivating buyer performance tool so that the buyer acts exactly at the time you want them to act. Now, the last thing we talked about in lesson 4 is the anti-retrading kill switch. And this is if a buyer tries to renegotiate, usually it's purchase price, but renegotiate with you without presenting a verified material adverse event, something that was unexpected, you can say, hey, we talked about what's material and what would change your mind. This is not on the list. Because when they do that, exclusivity terminates. This is your moment. Every late night, every risk you took, it all leads to this. Now, you are in control. You have a process, you have the leverage, and now you have the frameworks.